All right. Another week, another successful week of picks for me. Went 11-3, one of my better weeks this year, and I'm off to a good start so far. So, without further ado, let's get into it. I also went 3-0 on upset picks, and we're going to start with one Houston 28, Cincinnati 17. What really impressed me about this game is the way Houston pretty much was in control throughout most of the game. They looked like a superior team. They played like it. They carried themselves like they felt like they were the better team. That's kind of what impressed me out there today. They just kept moving the ball. Um, Matt Schaub was playing great. All the receivers were getting involved in the game. Their defense, forced a turnover. They did a good job on Cedric Benson, and they carried themselves like a good team. And with Houston, that's always the concern because they never really have been a good team before. So to see them with that kind of confidence makes me think maybe they are a playoff contender. And I'm not gonna have this as an indictment against Cincy because I thought Cincinnati was going to lose this game. It's hard to win five in a row. They had won four very tough games in a row, and I thought it was time for them to lose, and it was. I still think they're a good team that may win that division yet, but it's going to be bumpy from time to time. And Antoine Odom out for the year. That always sucks because he was playing so well, but I don't think it's a crippling loss. I think it's a luxury that you hate to lose, but Cincinnati, if they're going to be there, they're going to be there. Antoine Odom or no Antoine Odom. Packers and Lions. There's really nothing to say about this one. 26 to nothing. Green Bay. Obviously, they used the bye well because their defense was stifling Detroit all day. There was no Calvin Johnson, and really that took away any chance the Lions have of moving. But Green Bay still had a lot of penalties. They did have one turnover, I think. So the bye week didn't do everything that they needed it to do. But Rodgers played great. Grant played pretty well. And I don't know where the team's headed, but the offensive line is still a mess. They gave up 2.5 sacks to my boy Julian Peterson in Detroit. I think there were 5 sacks total on Aaron, and that's not okay. But their defense got a lot of sacks too. I think their defense had like 5, 6 sacks as well. So it's not like they weren't getting it back. But you got to protect your quarterback because at this rate, Aaron Rodgers is going to get sacked 80 times this year, and I think that would be the single season record by far. So they got to figure out the Mark Tauscher thing quickly because Rodgers will get hurt behind that offensive line. It's going to happen if they don't fix things. Jacksonville 23, St. Louis 20. I don't know. Did you know that if the season ended today, Jacksonville would be the sixth seed? That's crazy, isn't it? But I don't know what to take from a game like that because Jacksonville looked like they were in control. They were about to just put the game away when Leonard Little came up with a pick six. Yeah, that's something you don't see that often, but he came up with a pick six, and Jacksonville took the lead. They let St. Louis march down the field for the game-tying field goal, and that has me a little suspicious about this team because the Rams shouldn't be able to move the ball on anyone. If the Rams can move the ball on you, you've got issues. So they did. They kicked the field goal, went to overtime, but Jacksonville, they imposed their will on St. Louis in overtime and got the win. And Maurice Jones-Drew played well, and they kind of let the ball flow through him for a good portion of the game. But Garrard, costly turnovers, costly turnovers. If he protects the ball like he should, like he normally does, this probably is a blowout. But I don't know. This Jacksonville team, they're 500, so the season's not over. But you gotta wonder. They're one of the most inconsistent teams in the league, so they got to figure out the Derek Harvey thing. Derek Harvey's the name of the defensive end I was trying to think of last week, and I couldn't think of his name. But they got to figure out this Derek Harvey thing because that dude's a beast. If he can get on the field, I think he can be a beast. But I don't know what's up with him. This game I got to watch: Baltimore and Minnesota. Minnesota won 33-31. Again, it looks like you can move the ball on the Ravens' defense. On the ground somewhat, but through the air especially. They now Samare Roll is saying he's going to retire because he got hurt in that game and he's done for the year and maybe done for his career. So it's not going to get easier. So specifically, I don't know what you can do. Maybe you just need to make a couple plays a game, get a couple picks, and that'll be enough. But more realistically, you got to figure out a way to actually stop the opponent on a consistent basis. And maybe I don't know if Chris McAllister is still out there, but maybe you kind of have to go after him and see if he still has it for one more year. Maybe you got to change up scheme, but it looks like Rex Ryan took a lot of that defensive genius with him to New York. And I'll get into Rex Ryan a little bit later, but yeah, I mean the comeback was great, and that comeback showed how good this Ravens offense is. Flacco was calm and poised. He was getting creamed by Jared Allen a few times today, but he stood tall in the pocket, made a lot of good throws. He's got a cannon arm. Love watching him play. Prototypical quarterback. And Ray Rice, I doubted the guy coming into the season. I wasn't sure if he was going to put up the numbers, but that dude's a baller. He reminds me of Emmitt Smith, the way he uses his arm to balance himself on the ground and to just, spiral himself up to. He has great balance, and that's really something that you saw Emmitt Smith do a lot of, and now you're seeing him do it. So they had that comeback, but at the end of the day, they're 3-3, and now that 3-0 start, where a lot of people were calling them the best team in the league, it doesn't mean anything now. Now it's like the season is just starting. They've got 10 games. I still think they'll be there in the playoffs. I still think they're a good team, but defensively, it might not be getting better. And for the Minnesota side of things, I was very impressed with Favre. I thought he played a fantastic game against a defense that is not bad. I'm not saying the Ravens' defense is bad. I'm saying it has some flaws. But, at the same time, they did beat Favre up a little bit. They did get in his face a little bit, and he played great. And when he needed to come up with that last drive at the end, he did. And Vikings came out on top. So the ESPN's not BSing you here. I watched this game. Favre played really well. Really well. Giants Saints. I thought the Saints were going to win. So I don't think this says a lot about the Giants. I'm not going to sit here and say the Giants suck because they lost this game, because I thought the Saints were going to win. But maybe the Saints won by a little more than I thought they would. But really, I do think that that's probably not the Giants team you're going to see from week to week. But I do think this proves that the Saints are a better team. And right now, they have to be considered the best team in the NFC. Well, I think I'd take them over the Vikings, but the difference between those two teams is pretty insignificant, and I'm not going to sit here and try and say one way or the other. And, the other part of that is this game would have been worse if Jonathan Vilma didn't do that stupid roughing the passer penalty that took a touchdown away from the Saints and gave one to the Giants. Because somebody had a pick six and Vilma roughed the passer after the pick. That was a very costly, but obviously at the end of the day the Saints still won by 3 touchdowns. I think the Giants secondary is good, but I do think it's largely a product of their pass rush, and today they couldn't get a pass rush on Breeze, and you saw what that secondary did. They got destroyed. Eli didn't look sharp at all. The running game never really had a chance to get on track, but Hakeem Nicks looking like yet another good young receiver on this Giants team, so that's always good to see. But a lot of questionable things came out of this game for the Giants. I'm not going to say this means they suck, because, again, I thought they would lose this game. So, Browns-Steelers, the Browns, they kind of sort of hung in there. I give them some credit. They made it a little bit of a game, but mostly because of that kick return for a touchdown, and that's fine, but you gotta question the legitimacy of staying in a game like that. And there was that one stretch of time where there were 5 fumbles in a row by both teams, just fumbling it back and forth to each other. So kind of a goofy game. Cleveland did manage to beat the spread, which is always a positive. The Joshua Cribbs Wildcat, I kind of like it, but he don't need to be throwing out of it. He should not be throwing the ball out of the Wildcat. Although I guess he's not any worse than Derek Anderson and apparently Brady Quinn, so I guess what are you gonna lose? So not. I don't really got a ton to say about this one. Let's just move on. It was business as usual. Carolina, Tampa Bay. I saw Big Nick's video and I agree with him, and I think a lot of Panthers fans, some of them do. Some of them are drinking the Kool-Aid. They're still not good. I saw nothing out there that indicates to me that the Panthers are back. And these, they could win next week. They could play like crap next week and probably beat Buffalo, but these last two games, it gave Carolina fans some confidence that I don't think they should have. Your team, it's still not good. Sorry.